We already know that global temperatures are expected to rise by 2 to 6 degrees Celsius by 2100, leading to changes in climate. This will affect multiple aspects of our lives, especially agriculture. Agriculture demands major land use. And according to Food and Agriculture Organization statistics, at the start of the new millennium, 2.57 billion people depended on agriculture, hunting, fishing, or forestry for their livelihoods. This includes those actively engaged in those activities and their non-working dependents.
Absolutely, and agriculture holds significant economic power, especially in developing countries. It's one of the biggest export sources in many industrialized countries. Beyond economics, agriculture is also seen as a heritage, a way of life, cultural identity, and even as an ancient pact with nature. But doesn't that mean we should be more resilient in adapting to changes, considering the sector's historical, cultural, and financial importance?
True, but resilience has its limits, especially with the scale of changes we're facing. Agriculture is not just about our food, it's about the entire livelihood of millions of people. As stated by the Food and Agriculture Organization, in 2023, around 1.23 billion people were employed in the world's agri-food systems in 2019. More than 3 times that figure, almost half the world's population, live in households linked to agri-food systems. Specific temperatures and rainfall levels are ideal for every crop. When these conditions shift, productivity will inevitably drop. For example, in 2010 and 2012, high nighttime temperatures affected corn yields across the U.S. Corn Belt, and premature potential due to a warm winter caused $220 million in losses of Michigan cherries in 2012.
But don't you think technological advancements can mitigate some of these impacts? We have seen innovations in crop varieties and farming practices that can adapt to changing climates.
Technological advancements can help, but they are not a complete solution. Growing fewer valuable crops because the climate is no longer suitable will drastically affect farmers' income, impacting the socioeconomic status of millions. Researchers Mendelssohn, Nordhaus, and Shaw highlighted in 1994 that farm revenue heavily depends on temperature and precipitation. If the climate is too hot, cold, wet, or dry, harvests will plummet. Even minor changes can have significant impacts on the lives of many people.
Fair point. The impact of climate change does vary from region to region. Hot, low-latitude areas face different challenges than cooler, high-latitude regions. Mendelssohn and Dinar in 2009 presented that each area experiences unique effects based on whether it gets more or less rainfall due to climate change. Riley argued in 1996 that poleward regions where agriculture is limited by short growing seasons are more likely to gain, while subtropical and tropical regions may be more likely to suffer drought and losses in productivity. These differences mean that growing crops can get better or worse depending on the region.
Exactly. Changes in temperature, rainfall, and frost-free days are leading to longer growing seasons, yielding both positive and negative impacts. Some farmers may be able to plant longer maturing crops, while others may need to provide more irrigation over a longer, hotter growing season. The ultimate result of climate change is the threat it poses to global food security, particularly due to greenhouse gas emissions. This isn't just a future problem. It's happening now, especially in the global south.
Indeed. Oxfam reported in 2022 that 85% of cropland in Ethiopia had been affected, and up to 60% of cereal production in Somalia was below average due to a 2-year drought caused by climate change. This drought caused the death of millions of livestock due to lack of water and pasture. While irrigation can help boost crop yields, expanding irrigated areas has environmental downsides, such as water scarcity, which can also affect drinking water supplies and ecosystems.
Higher temperatures affect various factors, including the economy, the quality and quantity of crops, and nutritional value. Projections by the European Environment Agency in 2020 indicate that by 2050, non-irrigated crops like wheat, corn, and sugar beet in southern Europe could decrease by up to 50%. Higher temperatures also create volatility in food availability and prices, impacting food quality and calorie consumption. This makes primary crops like wheat and rice less effective in combating malnutrition. which is particularly concerning for regions already struggling with food insecurity.
You're right. This volatility and instability can lead to stunting, wasting, and micronutrient deficiencies in children, adolescents, and women, as argued by Nemechek and colleagues. Farmers are on the front lines of climate change, trying to adapt by shifting planting dates, changing crop varieties, and employing new technologies. However, these adaptations sometimes come with costs and aren't always accessible to small-scale farmers in developing countries. This inequality in adaptation capacity means some regions and people will be hit harder than others, exacerbating global inequality.
Policy responses from governments are crucial. There's a pressing need to support and fund research into climate-resilient crops and farming practices. Investment in sustainable agriculture and infrastructure is essential to help farmers adapt and mitigate effects. Policies promoting sustainable water use and protecting against land degradation can also have a huge impact.
Consumers and citizens also play an important role. The United Nations Environment Program projected in 2021 that the demand for food will increase by 60% by 2050. Our decisions today will have an enormous impact. Supporting sustainable farming practices and reducing food waste is key. Being informed about where our food comes from and making ethical choices can pressure the promotion of more climate-friendly agricultural practices.
As the Worldwide Fund for Nature suggests, we should eat more plants, eat more variety, cut waste, grow our own food, eat what's in season, pass on plastic, and look for RSPO-certified palm oil products. Stachel mentioned in a Colorado State University article that shopping local supports your community and ensures you're buying fresh produce with less environmental impact.
Understanding these impacts and being educated on the matter is the first step toward solutions. Let's get informed, take action, and raise awareness. Start the conversation with your local community, friends, and family. Together, we can make a difference.